Hey there, welcome to day 268 of our BU 365 day challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, and this month we are focusing on and talking about different areas and aspects of the life framework, modular area of communication. I like to break my life down into 9 different areas and aspects and plan, and have my long-term legacy goals and objectives, and then break those all down into tiny bite-sized pieces actually on a daily basis. And that's what this challenge is all about. How can we do something every day that improves us and moves us toward the person we want to be, how we want to show up in the world? So this month we're focusing on communication, and today's topic is ethics. And so I looked up, of course, online, communication ethics, and this is the definition it gave. I'm going to read it because I think it's pretty good. It says, communication ethics is how a person uses language, media, journalism, and creates relationships that are guided by an individual's morals and values. So basically, ethics, like reality and everything else, is dependent on the person and how they define ethics. We get to define everything, and we have to define it in a way that is right for us. And I was going to do some research on ethics in journalism and ethics in the media, but I knew it would be overwhelmingly frustrating to me, so I chose not to do that, because I think it isn't about what they're teaching kids in journalism school, because I can't even imagine what they're teaching people in journalism school for ethics or in political science as ethics right now, because it's definitely not what's going on in the world. And so we have to remember that it's our morals and values that determine our ethics and how we show up in communication, all different types of communication. So of course there were 5 different ethics and 10 different ethics and 3 different ethics and things with respect to communication, and I'll share a handful of those. Our action item today is just to think about, when you're communicating, how ethical do you feel like you're being? How in alignment with your personal morals, values, and we've talked about core values, how aligned are you with your behavior and your actual values? How you feel about ethics? Are you, and some of the things we want to think about, it's ethics in communication is, are we aware of the consequences of our behavior? Are we aware of the words and the language and the things that we say and how we say them and tone of voice and everything, and the impact that has on other people? And I guess our ethics and morals have to do with, do we care? There are a lot of people in the world right now, and probably always have been, and I've been just had blinders on about it, but that just don't give a 2 bits about what other people think. So they will say and do whatever they want, and that is their reality, their ethics, their morals, and they're living by their personal definition of ethics and communication ethics. We might not agree with it. I got to tell you, I don't agree with it when people are rude and disrespectful and judgmental and unkind to other people, but it's not for me to judge. If they want to be that way, they're showing up in the world how they want to show up, then that's right for them, but it would never be right for me. And we don't get to say what's right for other people. We only get to decide, well, we can say it, but no one's going to listen. We get to only decide and really show up in a way that's right for us. So, do we respect other people's point of view, and do we tolerate disagreement? Each and every one of us have a different level of that. And guess what? One day I might be super tolerant. Another day I might be having a bad day, and I might not be tolerant at all of people that are acting in ways that I don't agree with. So what are some ethics in communication? And then our action item today is just going to be to think about and create our own communication ethical statement. And it's just one sentence that helps us decide what is and is not right for us, or something we're striving for in the area of communication to be more ethical, meaning we're more in alignment with what our morals are, what our values are, what's important to us, where that line in the sand is. I talk about that a lot. One of the things I learned from my ex-husband that I still use and appreciate today is, how do you draw that line in the sand of what is acceptable behavior for you and unacceptable behavior for you? Above the line is acceptable behavior in your mind. Below the line is unacceptable behavior. We used to use that to help the kids learn lessons about, okay, well, that wasn't very kind. You could do this. What are some other ways you can handle that situation? So what are some ethics in communication, some things that we could think about? Number 1, be truthful and honest, right? What is truthful and honest to you? The reason this topic is kind of tough for me right now is I'm a little disillusioned with the way our world is right now in terms of ethics and morals and right and wrong. And there's been in the media, in social media, in the the press and journalism, all kinds of media, this belief that it's okay to put out whatever misinformation you want. It doesn't have to be the truth, and that's why I say I cannot research what they're teaching kids in journalism school nowadays for ethics, because I think they probably took it off the curriculum altogether, because how do you teach people in school this is ethical journalism, and then every example that they see in the real world is the exact opposite of that. The who, what, where, when, why, and how has definitely flown out the window when it comes to reporting. And our news isn't news anymore. It is entertainment and propaganda. It's to make us think a certain way because there's this big push, and I think it's very unethical personally, to have people not think for themselves. And one of the great freedoms we have, at least here in America still, is we as human beings get to think for ourselves. Nobody can think for us. So be truthful and honest. Active listening, again, a skill that I'm going to practice for the rest of my life. Speak non-judgmentally. Boy, that's a big one for a lot of people. There's a lot of people out there that's judging away. Mostly we judge ourselves, right? And that's not awesome either. We're supposed to be our own best friend. Speak from your own experience. How often are you listening to conversations or participating in conversations and people are just regurgitating something that they've heard, and who knows if they've heard it right or not, or something they heard on the news or something they heard from a friend? It's basically just gossip, and it's the telephone game gossip. It's not accurate gossip, especially if the information wasn't accurate or true in the first place. And there's so much. The internet's been awesome in so many ways, but really bad in other ways in terms of the way it's been used negatively to hurt other people. Consider the receiver's preferred channel of communication. Do they want to read it? Do they want to hear it? Do they want to see it? Do they want to personally experience it when you're communicating? Strive to understand before you strive to be understood, but do both. Avoid a negative tone. Remember, our tone of voice and our nonverbals are very important. And then don't interrupt others. Another one that I'm going to continue for the rest of my life to practice. So today, if you want, I'm going to do this because I think it's a good check-in every once in a while. Rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10 with respect to ethics. Now, not ethics how anyone else would say whether you're ethical or not. 10 being super duper ethical in alignment with your morals and values. If you're acting 100% of the time based on your morals, your values, your thoughts, what you think is ethical for you, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. You might have a really bad ethical code, but if you're consistent with it, you give yourself a higher score. If you're not consistent with it, you give yourself a lower score. So I'm going to rate myself on a scale of 1 to 10. How much am I guided by my individual morals and values, or am I influenced by other people, etc., when it comes to ethics and morals and values? And again, we're speaking, I'm like, how often am I speaking from my own experience, not borrowing stories from other people? Marketers do that a lot online. Or am I, or people in any business, as they're marketing, do that online a lot. They present stories in ways that are just basically not true, right? Whenever you see people driving around in Lamborghinis and flying private jets, chances are 99+% of the time that is not their life and their lifestyle. They're just presenting a pretty picture for people that they want to influence, aka manipulate in many cases. Because if you're not speaking from your own experience, to me that's unethical. If you're acting as if you are something that you're totally not and have never done or accomplished, to me that is a lie, and I don't want to come off that way. So, and then share, come down to one statement, and maybe it's just something as simple as, I will communicate ethically by making choices that are in alignment with my morals and values, or whatever, something like that. But I'll come up with a statement too, because I think it's a powerful exercise to try to get something as complicated as ethics down to one guiding statement that you can just remember whenever you find yourself in a quandary as to what is or is not ethical communication. All right, any questions, hit me up. Cool topic. It's a really cool topic, but since it is emotionally and often, judgmentally, politically charged, it's tough to talk about for me. All right. If I can help you anyway, ask. Otherwise, I will be with you tomorrow.